So based on our neuro exam, we're going to take a peek in the neck area. And so what we're seeing here is he's laying this way. So it's the back part of his brain. This is his cervical spinal cord coming through here. These little brick-like shapes are his vertebra. And then in between each vertebra, where you see the bright white line, is his intervertebral disc. Between C1 and C2, there's no disc. It's a little different mechanism up here, so you don't see a disc through there, but all that looks normal. The dull gray tube is the spinal cord coming through. The bright white line on the bottom and the top is a combination of epidural fat and cerebrospinal fluid that surrounds the spinal column. And so when I take a peek, when the scan first comes up, I always kind of say across the parking lot, so I'm taking a look at it, seeing what looks abnormal to me. And the one thing we'll say is the discs all look great. I don't see any signs of fracture, anything that's causing a compression on the spinal cord. The discs look fine. But what is different, or not quite normal, is that if I look at my dull gray tube of the spinal cord, it's fine, but when I look at the width or the thickness of the fat fluid that's surrounding the spinal cord, it's really thick. So in normal animals, what I tend to see is more kind of fine lines like down here, like that thickness. So it's usually an outline, but they're just very wide. It's very thick. So as we come through and take a peek, so now I'm going to look at, we've got cross section over here. We're going to open up and look at the cord this way. So where the orange line is where we're slicing and opening up and looking at the cord this way in all of these scans. And so you've got the dull gray as a spinal cord, and then the bright white that goes around the cord on these scans can be a combination of, again, anything that's got a fluid or moisture signal, which can be cerebrospinal fluid, or the fat that goes around the cord. And so again, even just in cross section, when I am just looking at the areas that come through, like the cord is just tiny, and what's filling the canal around it is all that fat fluid. And so I don't see anything compressing the cord, but to me the cord just looks very tiny going through the entire spinal column. When I come down and look through here, what I can see is, if I blow this up, is that what is bright white up here, down here is darker. And so this area that is bigger than normal is our subarachnoid space. And so when I take a peek through there, the question's going to be is, why is the cord so small? It's not just in one area, it's kind of diffuse, so it's throughout the whole area. So the question for me, and when I come back, I'm going to show you another thing that I found. So come backwards.
And that's throughout, right?
Throughout, yeah. So it doesn't fit with an injury to me. It's either something that, was the dog born that way? Was there some type of an infection when the dog was young that prevented the cord from being normal size?
It's not like you can drain it, or because it's just gonna.
Correct. And then the other little thing that's abnormal is we're coming backwards. Cross section down here, so location wise here, this is C2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So over the vertebral body of C6. Again, this is more, as far as the width around the cord, that looks more normal size. So a nice big portion of the cord surrounded by normal cerebrospinal fluid. In this area, the part that's abnormal is this shape that you're seeing here is the vertebral body. So it's the actual bone of the vertebra itself. And then this is the bottom part, and so here is down here. What you're looking at here off to the side, you can't see on this scan because the scan is slicing right through the center. But see this big white area through here? That's an abnormality that I can end up seeing again down through here and over through here. But that's an abnormality that's in the actual bone itself. It is on the right-hand side, which is our side that's worse, but it's not causing any compression to the cord. So again, as far as it doesn't look like an active, it almost just looks like a cystic pocket in the bone itself. It's not normal. I don't think it has anything to do with the degree of paralysis we have, because it's not hitting the cord. So if this thing was big and pushing on the cord, then bingo, we got it, but it's not. So it's not normal, but as far as what do I make of it, besides it could have just been something born that way, it's not causing our problem. But again, in cross-section, that's more the diameter that the fluid line should be, compared to as we go up higher, as it starts getting very thick up through this region. So as far as, sometimes when we have thickened pockets, they can be what are called subarachnoid diverticulums or cysts. Sometimes they are very focal over a small area. Sometimes in those animals you can go in and open them and drain them. They can reform, but my concern here is it's so diffuse, so trying to go in and open it through that whole area. Again, it's just so diffuse, I wouldn't recommend.
So usually it's just more like a small area.
Sometimes it can just even be over like that degree through there.
Yeah.
So I think clinically wise, as far as there's nothing broken, as far as there's no vertebral fracture, there's no vertebral malformation. Oh, there's malformation down here, but it's not causing our clinical signs. What I see through here is, again, the cord just looks very tiny with a very thickened subarachnoid area. But as far as opening up to go and drain that, I can't tell you that that's going to change the outcome of the dog. And what you're seeing clinically is there's been some improvement, so I would kind of keep working therapy-wise. I'm not sure the dog's, he's never going to be normal.
So that could never get to be like a normal proportion.
Unlikely. And so, so the hard part is I don't know what it looked like.
Right, you have nothing to compare it to.
Right. So we can always go based on clinical signs. We can always look at rescanning 6 months down the road if there's halt in progression. But the hard part for him is, even if you're like, okay, we can go in and drain it, let's try and see what happens, I still couldn't tell you, that's going to make him walk again. So you have to look more at what you've got in front of you, which is there's been signs of progression. I don't ever think he's going to be normal. Would he get to the point that he might be able to walk around on his own? It's possible. The other thing he's got with his knees, which doesn't cause any of the crossing over, the dragging, the long stride funky gait that he has, but it can have some issues with him bending and straightening the legs, is that his little kneecaps flip back and forth. So sometimes just with more ability of bending, the kneecaps can, boots and stuff for the hind end. I can give you a list of some different stuff. I find that you just kind of have to go through and play with there's all different products, but some boots work better for some dogs than others. The Therapaw boots, I like those, which I'm going to give you a handout, so I'd probably go online and just look at them. Sometimes you have to find something that's protective enough, but not so big that it doesn't act like a flipper and make things worse.
Right.
So again, that varies a little bit amongst different dogs.
So this is not uncommon to have it.
It's not normal.
Yeah.
No, it's not common.
But in the past, there are dogs that have this, and
so with him, the question's going to be is what caused it, and so again the hard part again is just his history, as far as we just don't know kind of where he, like what did he look like when he was born,
right.
What has happened. So that's the hard part. So the question here is this cause of or result of the smaller cord?
Yeah.
So was the cord affected when he was a puppy and that area is filled in with fluid? Or is the cord smaller because he's got this, subarachnoid area? But the problem is that it's not like I see a band that's kind of, from the band back, everything's big. So, some of the subarachnoid diverticulums we see when they're kind of over a small space like that, you can go in and there's often a band that you can see that you can kind of open the band and drain the cyst, and the hope is that they can reform and grow back, that sometimes that can free things up and they can do better. The problem with him is I don't really quite see a band for him. It's in the neck area. There's risks with surgery, and again, your history is that he's made significant improvements since they've had him. From your treasure, who was with him, was she with him in May?
Yeah, it was more from the, she was with him in May. Yeah, I talked to the foster in Aruba, and she said he's had positive changes. And then that little cyst on the side, could that be just a fluky thing that it looks like it's not
That is
compressing,
a fluky thing,
but
it's not compressing.
it's
so
not doing anything, okay.
Again, that would be interesting to
Interesting.
monitor it
Yeah.
down the road to see what it does, but it doesn't look active inflammatory, it just more looks like kind of a proteinaceous fluidy pocket like a bone cyst, but it's not, there's no compression whatsoever on the cord, so to me it's an incidental finding, meaning it's not normal, but it's not contributing to his issues. We did do a spinal tap to look for anything inflammatory. All the numbers are within normal limits. The white cell count, red cell count, proteins all normal.
Okay.
I would just keep working PT wise with them.
Okay.
and he's always gonna be special needs, but
Yeah.
let's see if we can get him on, up on all four.
Okay.
And where are you guys, again, as far as you have some PT close to you?
We're by Northampton and Holyoke and Springfield, the Amherst
Okay.
area.
So, and what, so I think, Leanne, I always butcher her name, Kazak, she's at Northampton, she does physical therapy. I don't know whether she has an underwater treadmill,
Okay.
but she's at Northampton Animal Hospital.
Oh, okay.